Good evening and welcome to Call of Cthulhu, our first session with this new group as we head out on the Horror on the Orient Express. So, for many of you, you are probably new to this channel and don't know all of us. Others have watched our previous D&D stream. But for those of you who don't know us, we will be going through and introducing ourselves and our characters. And I am Josh Parrish. I am the Keeper of Arcane Lore. The most pompous and overwrought title for a GM in any game.
No, it's not. I'm sorry.
It's up there.
Does Sirianus have something?
Hollyhock God?
What was that?
The Hollyhock God from Nobilis?
Oh, crap. I forgot about Nobilis. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, second most.
Second, yeah.
But, yes, Keeper of Arcane Lore, or Keeper for short, is the GM of Call of Cthulhu. I am going to be heading our intrepid group out onto the Orient Express, trip across Europe to piece together an artifact, which our characters know nothing about yet and are going to find out about. But it is a interesting campaign as it mixes horror and some adventure, and we are going to be using the modified Call of Cthulhu rules for Pulp Cthulhu, which really kind of ramps up the adventure aspect. So for those of you who are not familiar with Pulp Cthulhu, it makes characters much more survivable and gives them unique traits, some of which may be supernatural, some of which are not, but always make the character more heroic. So we are going to be kind of filling you guys in on some of the rules as we go throughout. Our players are mostly fairly new to Call of Cthulhu. But we will be making sure that we get to really bring this together for you. So, first off, we are going to introduce our characters. And we are going to start off with Brian. Can you introduce yourself and who you will be playing?
Hi, I'm Brian. A little bit of experience with role-playing stuff, but Clifton Carlisle III is a old East Coast money American male from an old WASP family. He's very affable and charismatic, and he's never really had to work for anything in his life, and that somehow means that he's better than everyone as far as he's concerned. He definitely has he has some combat experience. He fought in the Great War. He has an air of just overwhelming confidence, no matter what the situation is. And yeah, I think that's good for now.
Okay. MJ, would you like to introduce Katerina?
Yes. So, Katerina Soika is a Czech-American fortune teller. She is quite young and quite inexperienced, but nonetheless has some pretty stellar talent when it comes to what she thinks are the arcane arts. But, what she's going to soon find out is that she's in for a world of discovery, as what she does is just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for now. We'll discover more.
Okay. Justin, who is also running our stream today, would you like to introduce yourself and Simon?
Yeah, sure. I'm Justin. I'll be playing Simon. Simon Ashford is a gambler who has been all over the United States, and he's very fun and outgoing. He's also pretty charming. He is about 5'3", so on the short side, but
Ooh.
he has a presence about him that is just a lot of fun. So yeah, a gambler.
Simon,
Thank you.
second shortest person. You know.
And last but not least, Ian, would you like to introduce yourself and Silvio?
Sure thing. So I'm Ian. I'm playing Silvio Marquez de Leon. He's a veteran of the Mexican Revolution, which would have been about a decade before this campaign. And when the revolutionary ideals that he really held dear and fought for were betrayed, and the forces of reaction took over, he fled to the United States and has really been living there since, kind of squeaking out all kinds of odd jobs as a laborer. Doesn't really like staying one place for long because that's when the disillusionment really sets in. And tries to keep the memories of what he experienced and what he believes in alive through playing the guitar and through song. But yeah, that's kind of brings us to the present for Silvio.
I love
Awesome. Well, those are our characters. However, there will be other characters going in and out sometimes. So just be on the lookout as you get introduced to maybe some interesting additions to the group. But figure we should get started on a few warnings. First off, for anybody who has not experienced Call of Cthulhu, it is a horror game. There is plenty of violence and existential dread and horrific things happening. So we'll try to keep it to at least like the R rating level, but if there are any specific content warnings, we will make sure to let you know before any of them happen. But on that note, things can sometimes get out of hand, and because of that, our players do have the X card. So if anything ever gets out of hand for one of them, they have the option of letting me know, and we will kind of veil it and move on. But with that, kind of a little heads up on the rules for our listeners who have never played Call of Cthulhu before. It uses a D100 system. Nearly everything that our characters are going to be doing are going to be based on a skill rating or a rating of 1 to 100. And at that point, when you declare that you're going to do something, you roll a D100. If you roll below your skill or attribute ranking, then it is a success. There are additional rules beyond that. If you succeed by more, you can have a hard success or an extreme success. But that's kind of the gist of it. Our characters not only have health, representing, how they are going to get horribly hurt throughout this, but they also have sanity, representing their minds breaking. And we will deal with insanities when they happen. But our campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. And first off, I would like to thank Chaosium for just putting out an awesome game and actually reprinting Horror on the Orient Express, which has been through a few different editions. In fact, over my shoulder here, I have the first supplement made for 7th edition Call of Cthulhu, which still used a lot of the 6th edition formatting and is a giant box full of stuff. It's like 6 books, a whole bunch of packets, and just a ton of stuff, which is glorious, except it wasn't necessarily ideal for people to rifle through, and it went out of print a couple of years ago. and Chaosium recently reprinted it, and your friendly local gaming store will likely be getting copies in soon. So if you are interested in running this yourself, it is available on PDF, and the print edition will be available soon. If you have not played Call of Cthulhu before and want to start with your group, over my other shoulder, I have the starter box, which is a great place to start. Depending on where you catch it and when you catch it, usually about $10 on PDF or $20 in print, and we'll introduce you to the game and give you a whole bunch of adventures that you can run not only with your group, but even solo. So just a little plug for them because they are kind enough to help promote this stream. But they are awesome folks at Chaosium. But Horror on the Orient Express does start out in 1923. In fact, January 1st of 1923, our characters wake up the morning of January 1st, 1923, possibly a bit hungover after enjoying a party at the Janus Society in London, England. Some of them were brought there by their friend Professor Julius Smith. Others were brought there just as members of the Janus Society. And the Janus Society is a group dedicated to studying primarily European cultures. They are explorers and academics that have decided that the colonialism that is so popular in that day of age is kind of played out and doesn't really give any value to the world. And the Janus Society has decided that they're going to study their own past and look at primarily European cultures, but also early American cultures and even a little bit in Central America. But for the most part, they stick to their European roots. And the parties that the Janus Society hosts always are really focused on change. And so New Year's is the biggest party that they have. This year is at their headquarters in London, and Professor Julia Smith is hosting the party on New Year's Eve, which is not the important part. New Year's Day is the most important part. And in fact, there is actually a speech that he is giving at the Janus Society headquarters as a part of the Challenger Lecture Series. He is having many academics from all around Europe come listen to him talk about some of the cultural discoveries that he has made, and he has invited many guests because of that. So we are opening things at the party on New Year's Day, probably about half an hour to an hour before the lecture begins. And right now, the lecture hall itself is pretty empty, but the party area is definitely a bit crowded. What are you guys doing while you're waiting?
Roughly, like, how many people-ish are there? Is it like a couple hundred, or are we talking like a lot?
Between 300 and 400.
Okay. I think.
Sorry. What time of day is
Go
it?
ahead.
What time of day
That's
is
a
it?
good question. It is late afternoon, early evening.
I think Kat would be a bit of a loner, not really knowing anybody and not really feeling like this isn't really necessarily her scene. She's just here kind of looking for more clients and enjoying the lack of prohibition.
Oh yeah.
So I think she's kind of like off in a corner, keeping quiet, keeping to herself, swirling a Merlot or something.
Yeah, Simon is definitely having a great time. I'm sure he's found a center of people to converse with and joke around with, and yeah, he would be at the lively center. So wherever there's rowdiness, that's probably where he'd be.
So actually, with that said, you definitely find a group of what can only be described as explorers, like men's men sort of explorers. And even though this is a gala and a lecture, they're wearing like just dirty, rugged vests and kind of grungy clothes, and they've got like adventurers packs slung over a shoulder, and they're chatting with each other, and they kind of get you over, and they start telling their heroic tales, which 90% you can tell is completely made up, but they are definitely the life of the party, at least right now.
Yeah, I'd definitely be hanging out with them and trading fantastical stories, I guess.
Trying to one up them.
I don't know if I need to one up them, but maybe.
Yeah. Clifton's over there at the same group and definitely trying to one up them. And he's probably about 2 brandies deep at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to do, since you are trying to one up them, is I am going to have you roll fast talk. And because
I'm terrible
you
at that.
specified because you specified that you are a couple of brandies deep, you are going to get a bonus die, which introduces a mechanic for our watchers. Bonus dice, it's kind of like, for those of you who know D&D, it's kind of like advantage. It's almost like getting a reroll on it. Not quite, but works out that way, which is something that you guys can purchase for our players.
Dang it. I already did it wrong. How do I roll it with a bonus? I don't remember.
Well, that's okay. You do roll just like you did, but underneath you can see bonus/penalty.
Ah, yes.
Click that. Okay.
Do
So
not a matter.
so definitely a failure. However, the rest of the crowd doesn't seem to really either notice or care. They're just like, "Oh, wow, you did that. Oh my god, that's amazing." And they seem to be kind of rolling with it.
Clifton is so lacking in self-awareness, he probably just buys that they are completely blown away.
I think for Silvio, he's kind of wary of this type of crowd, and similar to Kat, kind of off to the side. If there's any like live musicians playing, he's probably watching them and simultaneously kind of keeping an ear out, trying to get a sense of like what type of people these are.
Absolutely. There are actually two different live bands playing. One kind of towards the entrance of the gala. There is just a general quartet playing soft music as you enter, but in the back, there is actually a small big band orchestra, and they're playing kind of more the music of the day, if you will.
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
That's the music of the day. Yeah, I think Sylvia would probably be more towards like the big band and kind of checking them out.
Okay. Yeah, for the most part, the gala seems kind of more sedate than you would expect. And maybe it's because some of the partiers were up, way too late last night and drinking way too much because, as was mentioned, Anybody from America would know that prohibition is in full force there, but here in England, not so much. So there are a lot of travelers that may be partaking a bit. But after about 20, 30 minutes, the ushers start bringing people into the lecture hall itself. And the lecture hall is very clearly organized as a quality lecture hall. These are academic speeches given here. And despite the absolute party atmosphere outside, the moment that you enter into the lecture hall, it is very clear that this is a different setting. With that said, there are tables set up because food is going to be served. And just so conveniently, the four of you are, as guests of Professor Smith, seated together, along with one other person who, Kat, you actually recognize as being one of the members of the Boston branch of the Janus Society.
Would
You
would it
go
make
ahead.
sense that they're the client that like got me into the club? Maybe.
I was gonna say it is up to you if they are a client of yours or not.
I think it would be. I think it would make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are 5 of you seated at this table,
Oh,
and go ahead.
I haven't. We haven't really talked about appearances too much. I guess I just wanted to
Oh
mention
yeah.
that Cliff is very well dressed. Just yeah, and clearly moves in that type of clothing like he was born into it.
Do we want to briefly go around and describe our characters?
I was gonna say now might be a good time to do so since you are meeting each other for the first time.
Physically. Yeah, I guess I should also mention the portrait's pretty accurate. Justin found this one, but he's very Aryan looking, very good looking, very well dressed, and as soon as we moved into the lecture hall, he has a sort of a bored look on his face, like he's looking for something to distract him. Anything. That's it.
I'll go next. So, Katarina has a youngish, kind of almost boyish face with like short, cropped black hair that kind of cups down to about here, and like shaven along the back and sides. And she has like some light freckles across her cheeks. Very, very cute and dainty, very petite looking, and severely underdressed for this event. Like, very clearly not in the same wealth category as everybody else.
At least not this guy.
I think for Silvio, he's in his early 30s. Has the picture's pretty close. Has a mustache, kind of. He's wearing like he's dressed up for the occasion, but it's like his one suit that he has. And he definitely takes care of it, so it's not like it's like dirty or rumpled. It looks good, but it's definitely has some wear to it. You can tell it's like the one suit that he owns. If anyone sees his hands, that's the part of him that's just really like weathered and rough. But other than that, he looks kind of uncomfortable to be at the table, or at least wary with these other strangers.
Yeah, Simon, he is short, as I'd mentioned. He's also sort of on the thinner side. He does have the top of his hair dyed red, so he's very audacious and he's very out there.
Third line, 1923.
Yeah, that's right. This is pulp, darn it. I want to look cool.
Fair.
But yeah, he also looks very well trimmed, but he does not walk like a gentleman, or he looks like he is very comfortable in what he's wearing, but it's not like he's restrained like a quote unquote gentleman would be. Um, so yeah,
Since you made me think about it, um, Kat is wearing a button-up black blouse with a bit of a collar, but like some fluff, and like a long conservative skirt.
cool.
Okay, well now we gotta. I think Clifton's in a dark gray chalk striped suit with a gold tie and plenty of embellishments such as what's that? A tie pin, some rings, that type of thing.
Cufflinks that cost more than my entire outfit.
Yeah, and like what would probably be considered nowadays as maybe even like borderline obnoxious, trappings of wealth type stuff. Like just, yeah.
I think
Nice.
Simon would be wearing like it would be a black suit, but also with a black shirt. But the inside of the jacket, it's like the red inner coat or whatever. So yeah,
Oh yeah, the crimson lining.
yep, exactly. He's got a nice pocket square too. Also red.
Gee, what's his favorite color?
It does match my
We
hair.
gotta
Yes.
go.
Yep.
Match the thing, right?
And I think Simon would have, when we get into the lecture hall, he probably would have brought a bottle of whiskey from the entry hall. So.
Oh man, I'm sitting next to you.
When you sit down and kind of introduce yourselves to each other, the waiter that is in the area kind of politely interrupts. Your first course will be out momentarily, and within, I kid you not, like 15 seconds of him saying that, there is an army of servers that just begin flooding the hall. And the first course actually consists of a nice salad, which is in 1920s Europe the height of luxury. Getting fresh vegetables, in particular lettuce, in 1920s Europe is pretty much unheard of. So, salad is your first course, and that just kind of sets you guys all up to know, oh, they mean business here. Even Clifton is a little bit surprised by the height of luxury represented by this one small thing.
He makes a joke about the the second reason joining the society is for adventure. The first is for the food.
Silvio looks very uncomfortable to be served. He's kind of like taking his plate from the server and like doing his best to help them. He feels very uncomfortable in this situation.
Kat feels very out of place. Almost like she doesn't say anything, but you get the sense that she feels like they're wasting this on her.
Can we just, like, as a little quirky moment, can there be like a thing where I wind up correcting someone's use of a utensil? Like they grab the wrong fork and he informs it that, oh, I'm sorry, that's actually for the entree. The salad fork is right here, type deal.
I feel like that could certainly be Kat. Maybe Silvio. I don't know. What do you think?
He does it in a way that is not, it somehow doesn't feel offensive though. Doesn't feel condescending, but
Okay.
totally
Well,
is.
let's say it's Kat, and she looks terrified for like a split second, and then realizes that you're not, that you're just being helpful, and thank you. like grabs the other fork and very, very quietly digs in.
Of course.
Yeah, I think
So
Simon would probably notice that both Silvio and Kat are feeling a little uncomfortable, so he will probably break the ice with some good stories or whatnot before the lecture starts happening, and also just sort of introduce himself and see who everyone else is here.
Clifton Carlisle III. I'm from Greenwich. Joined the society a few years ago, mostly for the adventure. After the war, normal life seemed trivial.
Yeah, I'm Simon Ashford. I'm here for just to have a fun time. Everyone in the society seems to get round everywhere, and it's fun to see what everyone's up to. Um, yeah, just here to relax and have a good time, and I guess hear some people talking.
Sylvia will take a moment and kind of unsure how to respond to these people, and then just introduce himself. Silvio, I'm not sure why I'm here. It's I guess it's nice to be away from the suffocation of America for a bit.
You, sir, seem like a man who's lived a storied life. Sorry, that was
Many,
so good.
many stories, not all of them happy.
Well, let's see if we can fix that. I don't know. I got nothing. It's just something charming and but dismissive, and move on.
There's a brief moment of silence as all eyes fall on Katerina, and she says nothing, and then she realizes that everyone's waiting, and she says, "Oh, me. Oh, I am, I am Katerina Soika. I'm here thanks to the generosity of our esteemed colleague," and she points to the man from Boston.
and he kind of nods his head. Maxwell Burns. Several of us from Boston and New York and the other American sites of the society got invites to come along. So it is good to meet you all.
Yeah, good to meet you.
It is good to see you again, Mr. Burns.
Likewise.
Mr. Burns.
It's a kind of a common name.
Honestly, I'm mostly here for the party. I mean, no offense to Professor Smith, but I have seen various lectures of his many times, and it's many of them are along the same lines. So, for me, I'm here to meet people, have fun, enjoy some food.
Man
A
after my
man
own
after
heart.
my own heart.
Jeez.
Seems like we're all at a good table then.
What is the
Indeed.
topic of tonight's lecture? Do you know?
I would assume it is something along the lines of some ancient Roman dig site or some, late Dark Ages discovery. Who knows? With Professor Smith, he goes off on very random lines of study sometimes. So we'll see, I guess. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not looking forward to anything too exciting.
I'll tell you, the trick for tonight is going to be drinking just enough, but not too much, that you'll fall asleep during the lecture.
While everyone's talking, Silvio's like rummaging through his pocket for something, and the next time a server comes by, he slips the server a pamphlet that he has.
Is that a common pamphlet? That's totally a communist pamphlet, isn't it?
Since I'm not really engaged in the conversation, can I spot that?
Yes, you can roll spot hidden.
Sweet.
Ian, how stealthy are you trying to be with it?
I wouldn't say I'm trying to be too stealthy. It would be more like, that's a good question. I wouldn't necessarily be trying to hide it from the people at my table, but maybe people in general, so I don't get the server in trouble.
Okay. So in that case, I am not going to make you roll for this since it's just kind of more of an under the table sort of thing. But
Do I not?
yeah.
I got a
Oh.
failure.
In that case, no. You see that he is kind of uh he's kind of making an odd motion, but you don't see what he's doing.
I don't say anything.
Okay. And not long afterwards, they bring out the soup, which is the next course, and an announcement is made. In 5 minutes, Professor Smith will take the stage and his lecture will begin.
All right. How's the soup?
It is unsurprisingly excellent.
Now, I want to know what's in the soup.
Really testing Josh's.
Jeez.
Yeah. I want to know your knowledge of 1920s soups.
It is a seafood chowder. The seafood chowders of the era were primarily whitefish and mussels and things like that. But this one is actually has some additional fish to it, including there is what you assume is tuna in it, which is a bit on the expensive side at this time.
Very
See,
nice.
did my knowledge of the soups of the era pass?
Well done. Well done.
So after soup, everybody kind of starts quieting down, knowing that Professor Smith is going to take the stage, and of course he does. And Professor Smith is a fairly large, very jolly fellow. He is a man of, we'll just say, extravagant tastes. And it is clear he has enjoyed many of those tastes in his life. He has a very bushy, wonderful mustache that is stained a little bit orangey by tobacco smoke. In particular, for those of you who have met him, pipes and cigars both are his vices. He does not smoke cigarettes. He finds those personally distasteful, but he doesn't judge other people that smoke them. But he really prefers pipes and, in particular, cigars from South America. And he comes out and he has one of those cigars in between his teeth, and he's kind of chewing on it, and he waddles a bit with the help of his cane up to the front of the stage and bellows out a "Good evening, everybody." And instantly the room just kind of is set at ease. He has a presence about him that just feels friendly. I've brought everybody here on our wonderful start of a brand new year to talk about something unusual. Our New Year's lectures tend to be a bit on the boring side, wouldn't you say? And, there's some spattered laughter in the crowd, and I have decided that we're going to make things a bit more interesting this year. This year, we're going to talk about hauntings. In particular, some things that have been reported throughout the ages in Europe and the cultural impact that they have, and how some of these so-called hauntings persist today, and what I think they might actually be. And from there, he goes on a beautiful, well-written, essentially rant about the history of hauntings in Europe and how, unlike in the rest of the world, in European culture, places are haunted, not necessarily people or things, and hauntings are not always ghosts in Europe. There may be a spirit or a concept haunts an area, but he brings up specific examples and goes into how aberrations usually don't actually manifest in any haunting that has any real evidence. Not that we think that there is, definitive proof, but and then kind of goes on. It's a bit rambly at times, but it's incredibly engrossing to listen to this man speak.
So two things. One, I think Katarina's a lot more engaged in this speech than we anticipated. To the point where she probably doesn't even realize when the next course arrives. And two, can I roll occult to know how much of this lines up with my own knowledge and how much of it is like out of the blue?
Absolutely. Anybody else who would like to can as well.
Ooh,
Yeah,
extreme success.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
It's
I just
extreme.
like to.
I know it, and I'm on a surfboard.
As soon as he starts going into, we're going to talk about something different, then he gets these just hauntings. Immediately, Clifton's like, "Okay, wait, what?" And then when he starts talking, he looks around the table. If anyone's got any notepad or paper, if they do not, I'm assuming they don't. He sort of not roughly, but insistently flags down a server and basically steals their. If they, it's all the same course. He wants something to write down. I was thinking he'd steal down their little waiter notepad, but that's not a thing that they would necessarily have. But he immediately wants to start. He kind of can strong arm, you know what I mean?
When you call over the server, and basically as soon as you start making a gesture that could indicate you want to write something down, he pulls out a small, it's not bound, but a small pad of paper and a ballpoint pen, which ballpoints were very rare at this time. Not super expensive, but they were rare. And hands it to you. Just hands it to you, walks off.
And you said we could roll two here, or
You can roll occult if you would like.
I mean, he doesn't have a trend, but
He rolled the same as me.
And Silvio, you're just kind of listening in.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's so skeptical of occult stuff he wouldn't even worry about that part. But he is interested in this idea of ideas haunting a place.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell that Professor Smith is a skeptic himself. He's not saying that, oh my god, ghosts are everywhere, but talking about kind of the history behind them. But since Kat got a extreme success, in fact, you actually recognize some of the examples he's giving
nice.
as things that have been kind of in occult circles as proof, including he references a taxi that is in London that has been kind of talked about and has been in newspapers because there is supposedly a haunted taxi where the driver is, alive, but the passengers that are in the taxi are never actually real passengers. They seem to always be there, but nobody ever sees when they get in the taxi or when they leave. So this one he kind of glosses over, but it is a particular note to you being in London right now. Like, this guy does know current events.
Everybody else can tell that Kat is just like engrossed.
Just side note, we're talking about automobile taxis, or are we talking about still horse-drawn type deal? I don't remember what the proliferation of combustion engines was at 1923 in London.
It could be either, but internal combustion vehicles are becoming common in London. It's definitely not in every family has one sort of situation, but the streets are definitely clogged with them.
Of course, it is London, so.
And for those of you who do not know, London streets, especially at this time, were constructed terribly because they were constructed for foot traffic, not vehicles. So navigation in London is awful, and any kind of vehicle traffic, whether carriage or motorized vehicle, is just beyond terrible. But he does make it through the lecture. The lecture is actually fairly interesting, despite some reservations some of you might have. And after the requisite applause, Professor Smith leaves the stage and begins going to some of the tables to meet and greet with folks. And after just, a few short trips to different tables, he does come to your table and shakes all of your hands and asks your guest at the table, the one from Boston, sir, would you mind? I'm a bit parched. Would you fetch some water for me? And he kind of scurries off. Professor Smith looks visibly relieved when the man leaves.
Point of order.
Yes.
We're frozen. Okay.
What? Oh,
We're frozen on the stream. Justin.
Oh.
Yeah, I switched the screen for a moment while I try to figure this out.
Did our viewers miss your cat desperately asking for your attention?
Yeah, my cat is trying to claw at my skin.
Yeah.
And her nails are really sharp.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So Professor
The
Smith is
audio's
now
working.
relieved. Or are we, sorry, should we wait till we,
Well,
or do we have the stream
yeah,
situation
let's-
fixed yet?
Well, we can keep going. I mean, this is
You wanna try
just RP.
Loading it back up again real quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do some Discord stuff, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna reload. So
I was going to say we have some important plot points coming up here, so
Okay.
No.
Take a moment.
Party. Nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing will happen.
It's definitely not gonna be. I actually have no idea.
okay.
All right, there we go.
Okay. And of course, Brian has left us.
Oh no.
That's okay.
Just keep going.
Did we have a Kima attack?
Hmm?
Brian's dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, we're back, folks. So we'll catch him up as. Oh, okay. So Professor Smith looks visibly relieved when you guys are all left alone with him. So I know who all of you are. How much do you know about me?
Mostly just what the members of New York told me about you, and of course the few drinks we shared over the last 2 years at the lectures on the first.
If I'm to be completely honest, sir, very little. But I've found your speech engrossing.
I'm glad to
Yes.
hear that.
Engrossing.
I know what you've written in our correspondence with each other. That means I know about half of you, but not the other half, which is actually meeting you in person.
Well, I am glad to finally actually meet you, and for the rest of you, being able to put faces to the names is appreciated on my end. But your names actually came to me as folks who might be able to help me with something. I have an issue that I am trying to take care of, and I need some assistance from able hands and able minds. And I was hoping that you wouldn't mind meeting up with me in a couple of days after the parties are done and everything is calming down, and discussing about a job opportunity that I have for you.
With all due respect, sir, there must be some mistake. I am no one of consequence.
All of you have important roles that you can play to help me out with the task I would like to commit to. I think all of you would be great help and of great consequence, if you will.
Sorry, can I just side note? He's English, right? So I'm in my head. I'm thinking an English accent. Or no?
Good, important thing to note is I am terrible with accents, and you probably will not hear me do accents much.
Fair enough. I just
So, yep. I will also mispronounce everything. But in his case, no, he does not have a strong English accent. He has spent a lot of time in, well, really all over the world. And while there's a faint English accent, it's not prominent.
I should note that Katerina is speaking with a bit of an accent as well, but it's not very pronounced, and I'm not going to really. I'm gonna pronounce a couple words, but yeah, that's about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, same with Silvio. He has an accent. English is not his first language.
Cool.
Do I get the idea
Okay, so,
that he actually knows who I am?
Well, if you would like to try to kind of get a sense of what's going on in this guy's brain, any of you guys can roll psychology.
Ooh,
let's do that.
do it.
Let's fail some
Yeah,
more.
let's get on the board here.
Now,
That is a failure for
Ooh!
me. 45.
I got a hard success.
Yeah, that's my.
one thing to remember, and it's not necessarily for this roll, but you can always spend luck to bring your roll down, which would make it a success potentially. But
Right.
in this case,
This is-
Oh.
This is not a super consequential roll, though, so I'm not going to probably do that. But I got a
we
hard
do.
success, so I don't care.
Yeah, we have 2 hard successes and a regular success here. So, Simon, you're pretty sure that he does seem genuinely interested in you guys, and you guys specifically. You're not sure past that, but the way that he's talking and carrying himself, he does seem to know who you guys are and interested in you guys specifically. For Clifton and Kat, you guys definitely get the same idea, but also there is something about him that is indicating an air of true desperation, like almost verging on fear sort of desperation.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
now, for
So
those
with
of you,
that,
oh, yep,
so I'm sorry. I guess so. With that, long, meaningful glance at the professor, and then one by one, I'm now reanalyzing all of my companions at the table because clearly they are in some way as important as I am.
That can't be the case. There's no way.
I mean, same plane, maybe not. Obviously not the same level, but
Right, yeah.
What is the nature of this job?
as much as I'd like to tell you here, we don't have much time alone, and this is not the sort of thing that really should be shared in public with. And he looks around. Well, the walls have ears.
well,
And he
I hope you all join us.
he hands each of you a slip of paper, and it has an address on it. This is where you can stay for the next few days if you'd like, and I will meet you there after I have taken care of my necessary duties for the society. And we'll say, and he pulls out his pocket watch and kind of looks very carefully at it. We'll say this time on the 4th. But in the meantime, you can use that particular home is it's my secondary home here in the city. You can use it to do whatever you want here in London. I have arranged for a little bit of spending money while you are in town and considering this potential job. And come the 4th, we will meet. And if you decide to part ways, I will take no offense to that.
Oh, color me interested.
Puts his pocket watch away. Very well. If you can excuse me, I believe our guest is returning. And the, Joe Schmo, Mr. Burns, returns to the table with a pitcher of actual ice water, another rarity. Just this whole party has been the picture of excess for the 1920s. And Professor Smith goes back to his very jovial nature. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad. I appreciate it. I was talking for a couple hours will do that to a man. And then he moves on to the next table. And you get the sense, for those of you who already passed your psychology test, he seemed to be moving on to the next table before you guys could continue to ask him questions.
Sure.
That was a let me get the fuck out of here.
He's on the
sort
down
of-
low, in other words. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can we say Cliff does some kind of if like Mr. Mr. Burns, Maxwell Burns, maybe begins to ask about what we talked about. He'll do a disarming redirect and make sure the conversation steers away from anything that might be what Professor Smith doesn't want him asking about.
Absolutely. I would
Seeing,
like a.
Seeing how bad Clifton mangled his story last time, I think I'm definitely trying to help him out as he's trying to do this.
That is good to know. So I am going to have both of you make a charm roll, and because you
sure.
are assisting each other, it's both of you are going to have a bonus die.
Meanwhile, while they're
Sweet.
doing that, Josh,
Mhm.
Katarina has a bit of a nervous tick, and her knee is like whap 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 whap. Like she is fidgeting well, I shouldn't say like crazy in a Call of Cthulhu game, but she's fidgeting quite a bit.
That's
Pretty
fair.
sensitive here, right? So I botched the thing that I'm best at, even with the bonus die. I think, as you said, the bonus die only affects the 10 slot, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It wouldn't matter next. This would still. So I botched that, but it looks like Mr. Ashford did decently.
Did spectacularly.
Now,
Yeah.
one thing to keep in mind, you can always spend, since you only failed by 3, you can spend 3 luck points. That's not very much, and turn it into a success.
Yeah, let's do that. Just because I have not. Let's play with the luck system. It's not a highly. Do I have to?
So on your
So
character
we're-
sheet, you would just lower the amount of luck that you have by 3. You didn't have to roll that.
Yeah, I meant to. I'm not in edit mode, so it made it a roll.
Edit
Instead
mode,
of,
yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
there we go.
You can also click your token, and on the token, the amount in the green circle is your luck. You can just change that as well. So there are a couple of ways in Roll20 you can do it. But because specifically both of you succeeded, you are able to distract Maxwell long enough to not see Kat kind of having her nervous tick over there. And in fact, you are, especially with Simon's extreme success, you are able to kind of convince him that it was a boring enough conversation and you are boring enough people that maybe he should go elsewhere and find some more interesting people to be around. So,
I'm glad we did this in such a nice way. Leave.
he kind of takes his, leave of you guys. Oh, well, it was wonderful eating with you, and Katerina, I will see you again, I'm sure.
She gives him her hand and does a short little curtsy. And then as soon as he's out of earshot, she turns to everyone else and says, "Thank you."
No problem. No problem at all.
Did all of that happen?
It did.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Are you
assumed I came here for a reason other than a lecture, but I still don't know what this means.
Katerina sort of composes herself for a moment, and you see her like fall into a different persona, and she well, we are all meant for things beyond our
did.
comprehension.
Thank you for the note. I love you.
Well,
Perhaps.
Okay.
Hmm?
Did you see Uncle Brian there?
Something arrogant. He says something arrogant.
Insert arrogant
Go on.
comment here.
Have fun.
Perhaps, if you would like your fortune told, I could help elucidate you on that purpose.
I don't know that word.
I hope I used it correctly.
Pretty sure you did.
Yes, I did. Actual writer.
Sure. I'm always up for some activity that toes the line between blasphemy and holiness.
That happens
Sorry,
to
was she
be.
actually offering that to me or somebody else?
I think I was. I think I was just offering it to the table, although I was saying it in response to what Silvio said. But yeah, I think it's well within Clifton's character to just interject, you know?
To just assume that.
Well, that happens to be my specialty, sir. And she, in response to somewhere between blasphemy and whatever you said. So yeah, if it's not too weird, well, I guess even if it is too weird, I think she would pull out a small pouch from her purse, and from inside the pouch, she'll pull out a deck of cards. And she'll do a short, very short, just 3 cards tarot reading for Clifton.
While this is happening, Clifton has the air of a slightly amused but very condescending tourist.
The people around at the party do briefly take notice, but it's not so much a, oh, weird sort of thing, like a, oh, neat sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I am here for looking for new clients, so why not practice my trade? Should I roll?
Yes, you should.
All right. So I rolled divination and I got a failure. I guess the meaning of the cards is unclear, perhaps?
Not exactly. I am going to type up what you get, but you
Okay.
guys can kind of chat.
Okay.
I think Sylvia would be
That was-
watching this kind of skeptically and seeing if, not necessarily like shenanigans, because it's not like it's like a card trick or something, but just trying to like suss out whether she's the real deal or not.
The people, the looky-loos, are they like within earshot, or are they just kind of like watching from the? He's distracted.
They're watching from far enough away that unless you were talking very loud, they wouldn't be able to hear anything. They're definitely taking notice of what you are doing physically, but they wouldn't be able to hear anything. At least you're pretty sure.
Well, I have to say, this table placement is quite serendipitous. You 3 are an eclectic and interesting group of people. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, yet again.
Yourself as well.
And
So I think she lays out the cards, and she starts off doing a very theatric and performative reading, with her accent a little bit more stated, right? She starts off like, "Ah, yes, the fool. The fool, you are beginning on a journey. You are an innocent, free spirit, and there is this new opportunity for you. But you are not yet in full understanding and comprehension of what this journey will entail." And then she flips over the next card, and her face just pales. And she recovers and says, "It might be tough. There may be threats that you might face, something ominous, but you will make it through." And then she flips over the third card and just like, again, like pales, and is just like, the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, well, and her accent drops, and she says, "You know what? I'm still practicing. I'm not 100%." And she scoops them up and puts them back in her pouch, and just like looks aghast. And again, like the accent was just gone, just 100% gone. She sounded purely American.
Well, no need to take this so seriously, my dear.
Of
He
course.
winks at her in
Just
the most.
superstition, after all.
I think she really took a bite in character.
More brandy, please.
So, as this is going on, I would like all of you to roll spot hidden.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I always put points in this skill.
Failure.
Well, I always fail too.
But Simon has an extreme success.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Very nice, Simon. As they're distracted by the reading, you notice two things, in fact. You notice, one, there is something that was underneath the table over near Clifton. You didn't see what it was, but you caught movement out of the corner of your eye there. You also notice that one of the looky-loos, if you will, seems to be taking particular note of your group. He appears to be a Turkish man, wearing a fez, which, for those of you who don't know, very common in that day for Turkish men to wear. Wearing a fez and a nice suit, seem to be paying a little bit more attention out of the looky-loos, if you will. But after the reading is done, he seems to just kind of and then walk off.
Oh boy.
And I know none of that information.
Thank you.
No problem.
If you're paying attention to roll
Barbara
20,
Yep. So I am unbothered.
okay.
So the movement I saw by Clifton, was that like consistent with someone maybe trying to do a pickpocket or something like that, or someone that was too close, or there's actually something I think under the table, or
It would be rather obvious if somebody was under the table.
Yeah.
These are not incredibly large tables, and the runners don't go all the way to the ground. But there was definitely someone or something that was moving down in that area near Clifton's feet.
I guess I'll take a closer look, just sort of lean back a little bit so I can get a better angle.
Whatever it is gone. There's nothing there now.
Well, I'll note that Turkish guy at least, but I don't need to say anything right now.
Okay.
And clarification, the address, I'm trying to remember the professor gave us, that was for the place we can stay or the place we're supposed to meet him?
Both.
Oh,
Both, okay.
Yes.
Even better.
it's a place you can stay, but also our
Sure.
It was his like pied a terre. Was that it was like his second home or something like that?
Yeah, it was the second home in town.
And we're meeting.
Okay.
It's the first,
On the 4th.
so we're meeting on the 4th. That was
Yep.
right. Okay.
He said this time on the 4th.
And it's, can we just quantify? Are we talking like, is it like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, like?
This time it'd be about 7 o'clock. It'd be about 7 in the evening.
And is the kind of event still going on, or are people starting to wrap up? What's the mood like?
The lecture it has completed, so it's kind of transforming back into more of the party atmosphere.
Before Clifton's about to break from the table to go schmooze with other people, but he would like to check with the rest of the. Hold on, is Maxwell Burns here? No, we got him to go away, right?
Yeah, he left. He's gone.
Yeah, he left.
Forget about him.
Okay, so
Just kidding.
He's gonna double check. Cliff's gonna double check to make sure no one's like in eavesdropping range exactly, and he's just gonna say something along the line, like, I'm gonna go schmooze, but I'd love to see you all tomorrow at the aforementioned location, and he'll go off to find more brandy, I guess. Let's say the waiter never actually came back with the brandy.
Silvio nods, and when Clifton leaves the table, he kind of lets out an audible breath like he had been holding it while Clifton was there.
Fair enough.
Mr. De Leon, what do you make of this?
I don't know what I make of it exactly. It seems very mysterious. And I don't know much about this society either. Do you?
I must say I am relatively in the dark as well. Mr. Burns invited me after I told his fortune several times back in Arkham, where I'm from. He is an eccentric gentleman and decided to invite me to this club, as it were. But I must say I do not feel at home.
I know the feeling. I find these types of societies are often excuses for men to guard their secrets from those they think are lesser. No offense.
None taken.
Well, still, it's a job. It intrigues me.
It's true.
I certainly could use the money, she says under her breath.
Better probably than scaling a skyscraper, I'm sure. Do you all think you'll stay at this place he told us about?
Yeah, like I said, it does intrigue me, so I don't see why not. At least to hear him out. Plus, he's footing the bill. Can't argue with that.
Kat glances very quickly at her, the bag of tarot cards, like poking out of her purse, and then looks back. Yes.
It's worth
Okay.
hearing out at least, I think.
So, I am going to share with you guys map of London. So, at the party, it kind of winds down after a while. As I said, some people are still hungover from the day before, and some people are partying a little too much. You may stay as late as you want, but if you are going to go back to the address that Professor Smith gave you, it is actually in Bloomsbury, which is a very, very nice part of town. Not terribly far from some of the nicest hotels and gentlemen's clubs, not in the adult sense that we know them today, but in the 1920s style of gentlemen's club. But there are a lot of them in that area, and his secondary home that you are offered stay at is not extremely large, but it is able to comfortably fit the four of you. So, who all is going to be staying there?
Sorry, can we just ask where was where's the office for the Janus Society in London?
That is actually it is on the southern tip of the Soho neighborhood, so not terribly far away.
So we're just going like up there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sorry, to answer your question, based on everything, he's probably staying in a posh hotel.
Okay.
Or I think a lot of those gentlemen's clubs have residences too. I don't. He probably belongs to at least one of them, just as a matter of principle type deal, or appearance's sake, if nothing else. So he's probably not going to stay there. But based on this proposition to meet again, he will drop by Clifton. That is.
Absolutely. Wouldn't surprise me if Clifton was a member of the Oriental Club, which is not far away and is one of the largest gentlemen's clubs in London. And very, very prominent, well known to be the sort of place that Clifton might be a member of. So you could probably get lodging there pretty easily.
Let's say that's where he's staying. Just for appearance's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't be slumming it.
Absolutely.
He's a member of the Carlisle family. He has appearances to keep up.
Kat will definitely be staying there, as it's undoubtedly much nicer than the seedy hostel that she is currently in.
Yeah, same for Silvio.
Yeah, and Simon will too. And actually, I think he's going to sort of be looking over Katrina and Silvio, especially as we head there. Also, just to make sure we aren't being followed by that Turkish guy or anyone. Just because that sort of set off some interesting alarms in his head.
Okay.
And nobody else nobody else noticed the Turkish guy either, right? That was solely Simon's thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once
I just want to make sure I'm.
Yeah. Well, once we get to the place, I'll let Silvio and Kat know. But I'm sort of close-lipped until then.
So you guys do have a couple of days to explore London, and there is actually an envelope of spending money on the main table back at the house when you get there. Not a ton of spending money, but there is about £25, which is still a fair amount. So something that you can use for the next couple of days. Does anybody have anything in London in particular that any of you want to do?
So there is this contact that I made up, Cynthia Berwind. I don't want to hold up the whole campaign though to do it. I
That's
mean, I don't
okay.
know. I just say he looks her up and we do it off screen or whatever. I don't know. I just
No, we absolutely can do that. We don't have to do it off screen. It is something relevant to your character, so. Let's see. For Cynthia, you do look her up, and it takes you a moment because you look her up under the name that you first knew her as, but now that she is married and has a different name, you're like, oh, and you do find her in one of the early directories. London at the time did have directories that were like phone books, but just addresses because not everybody had phones and phone books really weren't a thing. But some of the businesses and higher class people could be found in certain directories called public directories. So you do go to one of the libraries and find her pretty easily, doesn't really take any rolls. She is actually, uh, so she is staying in, it would be in the Chelsea area of London. Are you gonna just drop in, or send her a telegram, or?
What's the? What's the proper way to? I suppose that like an announcement would be appropriate, right? And dropping in seems like a uncouth thing to do with a proper English lady now, right?
That would be more
I
like,
mean, he would know. I'm just saying, Clifton would know.
you're thinking more Victorian era. In 1920s, it would be okay to drop in as long as she's not
I'll,
on her own.
okay, I'll drop in.
Okay. Uh,
Pleasantries and such, catching up.
one of the
Maybe
servant. Oh, yeah.
I just maybe cultivating a connection that might be useful later. I guess is all.
Yeah. One of the servants lets you in, and her husband is there, and kind of at least make sure that he's in the area while you're in the house. But you guys are able to catch up and chat a bit.
Assuming nothing mythosy comes up, we can probably just skip ahead and say that happened.
No, nothing, like that comes up. She is very interested that you got to attend the lecture. Uh, the Challenger lectures are always very kind of talked about in London high society. So she finds that very intriguing that you were able to be there. Not only that you were able to be there, but you got an invite too.
Well, my dear, I make friends everywhere I go.
Of course, I would expect nothing less of you. Anybody else looking to do anything?
I think Simon would probably schmooze around, probably find some place to gamble a little bit,
Mm.
and also just sort of walk the town and get familiar with it.
So, what kind of gambling is Simon's vice of choice?
Probably cards. Actually, yes, definitely cards. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, there are plenty of card establishments. For this, I'm gonna have you roll luck first. Ooh. So you've got an extreme success for your luck roll. The cards are definitely in your favor. The one of the uh, up and coming card games of choice in London at this time is good old fashioned 5 card draw. It was not the most popular in England, but around this time it was starting to become popular, and you're having a heck of a run. Do me a favor and roll psychology to see how well you're able to, see through people's lies and bluffs. So
Right.
a heart.
Hard, yep.
Go ahead.
Hard success, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. Man, you are really on a roll tonight. Uh, you are seeing everybody's bluffs, and you are actually making such a run of it that it is politely hinted at that maybe you should find another establishment to gamble at.
Yeah, that sounds fine. And actually, Simon, he's not like lording in it. He's actually, it seems like he's sort of surprised at how well he's doing. And he like tips really, really heavily to the dealer, to the serving people, and yeah, and he's just trying to make sure that no one has any hard feelings or whatever, and buys everyone drinks around the table. So actually, he probably only comes away with, well, he'll still come away with a bit uh, based on successes, but he's trying not to make any enemies either. So
That is a tough one, but you since you were gambling at establishments that aren't really, you know, the rough and tumble sort, you are at least able to walk away with all of your limbs intact and about an extra 15 pounds or so in your pocket, which is not insignificant. That's, you know, a few $100 for the rest of you.
Cool.
Okay, anything else?
Yes. So what everybody else sees is at one point, probably the next day, maybe 2 days from now, Kat just kind of like takes like an overnight bag sort of deal and just heads off and says, I'll be back later. And I'm just going to message Josh what she goes and does. And unless someone like follows her or something, that'll be it.
DM player conspiracy. I like it.
Getting started.
She's being a little secretive.
Sure. I think for Silvio, he would just be trying to find some of the like working class pubs of the day where people might be discussing some of the radical ideas and meeting up with his fellow radicals. And really his main goal though is trying to get a sense from them if they have heard of this society before, if it's like just because he's skeptical of this whole thing. Is he getting involved, wrapped into some like rich people nonsense, or have they heard of the society? Are they on the up and up? That kind of thing. Just information gathering.
Little from column A, little from column B.
Yeah. So one thing that you find out about is there is actually plans coming up for the 7th. The 7th. There is actually going to be a workers' strike that is going to be starting. It's kind of on the down low at this point, but it's going to start with a demonstration, and the formal strike is, assuming nothing happens after the demonstration, going to be starting soon afterwards. This is actually going to be organized by the National Unemployed Workers Committee movement, which at this time is starting to gain a little bit more political power in London.
To Silvio
They're just
not
gonna
joining
bring
the
you all
rest of the campaign. He's just gonna be doing this strike the whole time.
That's
They're
awesome.
just gonna brand you all as anarchists and violate your rights, and it's not gonna come from anything. You should know. That's how it always works, my friend. Not that he's
Of course.
actually in this conversation, but yeah.
Okay, so Silvio will note that down and be interested to check that out, depending on what happens on the 4th.
Okay.
Katarina heads back later that night, quite a bit later that night, slightly inebriated, and absconds secretly to her room.
Can I? Okay, I'm sorry. Can I? This is sort of a retroactive thing, so maybe whatever. But okay. The moment yesterday or whatever during the meeting when during the tarot reading, and then there was a
You've saved me so much on my insurance with that Russell
specific
rate. You become my muse.
change in
Russell
accent
State Farm offers everyone
and
surprisingly great
maybe
rates.
a change in
Feel like I
demeanor.
captured your
Is that something
time,
like
You
that
want the
Clifton
real
could
deal?
roll on
Like
to
a good
perceive
neighbor,
or something
State
like
Farm
that?
is there.
And again,
think-
this was like 2 days ago, so I understand it.
Dear
Too late
builders,
or whatever.
I mean, it's okay if Josh wants you to roll, but I would say it's pretty self-evident.
Andy Livy here, back with a nice advance to OBS.
We'll
to
say, just considering, you know, time has passed, that you kind of think on it later, like, huh, that
Yeah.
was kind of a sudden change.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So people in chat says, I've never been sober in London either.
It's not a city suited for sobriety, I would.
On that note, I think this whole time you've noticed that Silvio hasn't drank anything. And I think the other thing during our time is to stay is he has his guitar case on him, which he kind of like sleeps with in the bed with him very protectively.
Like leg draped
Does he
over
ever-
it.
Yeah, totally.
Does he ever pull a guitar out of it and play it?
What was that?
Does he ever pull a guitar out of it and play said guitar?
No,
Or-
I wouldn't say at the house. No, you
God, it's got a
probably.
45 Thompson in it.
That was the, or the
He's
whatever, the
Desperado.
Desperado, like full art. Yeah.
Just you wait.
Oh yeah.
So, is Silvio the type of person that, the girlfriend sleeps on the couch, the guitar sleeps in bed?
He's just very used to being on the road and like having things kind of protective nearby him, and that's like the most prized thing.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. It's like having your dog sleep with you, except for it's a guitar.
It's exactly the same.
Okay. Well, for the most part, a couple of days spent in London are relaxing. Not super interesting, but, relaxing, which is the important part. And on the morning of the 4th, you guys are kind of just doing your normal thing and going through the newspaper, looking at things. I would like all of you to roll spot hidden for me.
See if I can finally succeed on a roll.
It's really hidden if it's, published in a newspaper. I'm just saying.
Ooh, success! Yes.
I'm saying that because I failed miserably.
So, let's see. Okay.
God, what?
Okay, Silvio's the only one that got it. Well, all of you are at least able to come away with a really interesting headline. On the front of the Times is "Man dies 3 times in one night." Let's see.
Okay.
So just shared the article with you guys. But Ian, Silvio does come across another article that is on the 3rd page of the Times that something tells you might be kind of important. Let's see. One second here. What was that?
No, that I was just looking at the rolls. I wasn't sure if it was a hard success or lesser.
Just a regular one.
Yep, just a regular one. So, Ian, you should have another article in your journal.
Okay.
Professor's Home
I
article.
see it.
This newspaper has no alliteration. I don't believe it. Can't be real.
I guess I wasn't totally clear. Can we say that he's been stopping by every day in the last couple days around the same time? Sorry, Cliff.
Yeah.
That's what I assumed from what you said.
Yeah, that was what I meant, but I guess I wasn't super clear on that. So.
Yeah, editor J. Jonah Jameson.
Bring me pictures of
Hey, man,
Cthulhu.
He's typically played by what's his name?
Right, yeah.
The Spider-Man movies guy.
Yeah.
Can't think of his name.
Okay, we all know.
J.K. Simmons.
DB something. DB something. Yeah, Simmons. J.K. Simmons. You're right. Not DB at all. J.K. Simmons. You are correct.
You see Silvio reading the paper, and he kind of does a double take and kind of shows the page he's looking at to all of you and says, "It looks like our mutual friend made the paper."
That is not usually a good thing.
The good The professor, his home apparently burned down. This is strange.
Is he dead?
Are we not in his home? His other home.
His,
Right.
I guess his primary home. Yeah.
He has multiple homes.
So John is lucky for that, because death by smoke
So-
inhalation.
It says here that he's missing, and the authorities are looking for him.
Well, hopefully he still drops by.
Does that
I
mean the
shared the
authorities
article with
will
the
be
rest of you.
Does that mean the authorities will be looking for him here?
It's
Likely.
well. Should we
That's usually
contact
how it
this?
works.
Silvio jumps out the window. Just kidding.
Perhaps we should contact this detective. And she says that, and you hear her voice kind of like, good, like she doesn't
Why don't
really.
you let me handle that, sweetheart?
Okay.
In a very condescending, but again, charmingly condescending, but condescending way. He's just like, yeah, why don't you let me handle that, sweetheart? The rest of you, maybe take a look around for clues or something? I don't know.
Oh yes. Why
Can we
do you
rate-
know all of the most difficult things? After all, I'm but a helpless woman.
Exactly. But like, serious. I mean, okay, again, just to clarify, that's Clifton, not Brian's. Yeah.
It's like, okay, subtext noted.
We should definitely, though, like, I guess more of a character note, or I mean, a player note than a character note, but like, we should turn this place upside down for clues. How do I
Possibly.
convey that in character, I guess, because clearly he had, okay, he was clearly distraught. There was some kind of situation that was causing him a lot of anxiety. Maxwell Burns was part of it or peripheral to it. And now someone burned his freaking house down. So, clues it is, right?
Did this man, Mr. Beddoes, come to visit the house at any point? This house?
Not while you guys were there.
Okay.
As soon as Silvio puts two and two together that the authorities might be coming, he kind of pops his head out the window and sees if he sees any obvious any cop showing up.
You do not. No.
Is Beddoes, is that a English name?
It is.
Okay. So he's likely a local. So, okay, so maybe I should, do I have to, okay, so 1923, the normal mode of communication would be to travel physically to Scotland Yard and talk to Detective Rigby? Is that...
You might be able to get a message by making a phone call, but either a letter or traveling there would be the best bet.
And how, where, let me look at the map here. I don't actually know where Scotland Yard is.
So Scotland Yard is not on this map,
Okay.
but it is.
It would be.
It's a few miles away.
My knowledge of London is entirely based on the Mr. X board game.
Mine is
Fair
on the Whitechapel Mysteries board game. So
Same board game.
yeah.
I'm a Sherlock Holmes consulting detective board game. So we all
It's
have
up there,
different
too.
I didn't
Sherlocks.
live there briefly, but I didn't understand anything from the maps. It's all based on the tube stations. So, would it be... Of the three companions here, I don't think any of them would be appropriate to bring with me to Scotland Yard.
I'm not going.
Maybe...
So Scotland
all-
Yard is like here-ish.
Oh, nice.
It is? Okay.
Right on the Thames. Okay.
Well, that's real close.
So-
Then. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think
I'm going to...
I think I would actually want to go as well.
Here, it's this bridge. It's right by this bridge.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll check with the team and say, all right, friends, I'm going to go speak with Detective Rigby and see what I can find out. Anyone want to accompany me?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Carlyle, is that wise? We do not want them suspecting us, do they? Do we? I mean,
Oh, they won't be suspecting me.
yeah.
I suppose. Well,
Perhaps
I can
not.
keep your names out of it, of course.
That
I will be sensitive to your place in society, of course. Or something equally like that. But again, in a very charming way, but
How
still
kind of you.
quite condescending. I mean, we're Americans. We share a special relation. That's newer, I guess. It's probably not 1923, but well, I mean, we just won a great war together. Like, we should be jovial, right? I'll make sure to keep your name out of any. I will. I don't plan on giving him any actual information. I just want to know what he knows, and I would like to keep my name off the list of suspicious characters that may arise in this investigation.
I'm sure they'll give.
No worries, my
I'm
dear.
sure they'll give a man like you the benefit of the doubt.
Of course they will.
Of course.
They always do.
While you're doing that, I will take a look around.
Okay. So
And
we. Oh,
I was
we'll
just
go
going to
ahead
say,
and
Simon is probably going to go with Clifton. I think he's got another question to ask about this other newspaper article. So.
okay.
The first one?
Yeah.
So
Remind me.
will.
Simon? Was Simon part of the Janus Society, or was he? I can't remember.
Simon's
Yes.
never really said, but
Oh. Yeah.
he certainly looked at home.
Well,
So.
Well, let's say as we're traveling to the thing, we get our story straight, and one of those is, why are you in London? The question is, member of Janus or just friend of Professor Smith? What do you tell me?
What do I tell you?
Yeah.
First of all, I'm trying to think of what I would answer, and also what is the truth. Well, I mean, he offered us a job, so I am concerned about him, and I would consider him a friend.
Do we really want to tell the detective about the job he offered that he was clearly paranoid about and highly anxious, and there was at least one other person who he didn't want to hear about?
No.
Okay, good. Just making sure. But he's a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You have known him for how long?
Officially, 2 days now?
Oh boy.
Unofficially? What shall we say?
you make friends quite quickly.
You're American. How long have you been in London?
I probably would have been in London about 2-3 weeks by now. Maybe a month.
So let's say you met him before 4 days ago.
Oh, yeah, sure. I met him when I arrived.
You must have a great many friends if anyone you've known for 48 hours becomes one.
All right. I'll tell you what, Simon. I'm going to let you do the talking for yourself. And I will say I only met you at the gala on the 1st. Fair enough?
Well, to be honest, this burning down of the house it's a little concerning to me, but...
Well, yes, it's concerning to me as well. Arson is always a matter of concern.
The real reason I do want to know about this weird article here with the three guys that died, because it's possible that it does say that they were Turkish nationals, and there was a Turkish guy checking us out. That concerns me as well. So, oh yeah, you weren't here when we got back. Yes, there was a Turkish guy at the lecture hall that was watching us rather closely after our discussion with Mr. Smith. So these articles may be linked. So, but maybe not. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of people visiting London, so it could easily be something else. But
Well, with a name like Mahmet Makriat times 3, all murder victims in one night, I share your suspicion. All right.
So,
Well, I think in general we're going to be on our own with these conversations, but just keep our friends out of it and try and keep your details vague.
sure, easy to do.
okay. Well, you guys do make it to Scotland Yard, since it's actually not as far away as I thought. It's just a quick walk, and when you get to the front, there is essentially kind of a receptionist type person, a greeter, that he looks like he's probably, the overworked, underpaid, and really, really annoyed that he has to be the one here doing the bookings and answering questions. And looks up and sees two very well dressed and clearly aristocratic men kind of there.
I am
And
probably wearing my bowler hat just to keep my flame red hair under wraps for right now.
okay.
Very identifiable. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
This officer immediately kind of straightens his uniform. Good afternoon. What can I do for you? Well, I guess good morning. What can I do for you, sirs? He
Hello,
seems
sir.
very flustered.
I am Clifton. Yes, I am Clifton Carlisle III. I'm here to speak with a Sergeant Detective Rigby about recent disappearance.
Oh, is this about the Professor Smith case then?
It is.
Yes. Let me fetch him. And he just kind of scampers off and comes back after like just maybe 2 minutes. Yes, if you could follow me. And he kind of gestures. And he leads you down a hallway to one of the front offices. And it is clear from the way the building is set up that there aren't many offices. So the person that you are about to speak with, probably well respected within the police.
I
And
actually
he,
probably
They
wouldn't
assign.
follow. I think I'll let Clifton do this, and then I'm just gonna see what I can do about this other one.
okay.
Oh, so you're staying out by the reception,
Yeah,
Justin?
I'll talk to a different police guy, get a police sketch of
Okay.
what I think, and see if it's the same guy.
Okay.
Oh crap! I gotta handle it myself. All right.
Well, Clifton is led into the office, and there is a man in a vest. Suit jacket is kind of draped over the back of the chair he's in, and a whole lot of papers strewn across his desk. And he looks up and he looks tired. He looks like he probably hasn't slept in a couple of days. Uh, I was told that you're here to talk about Professor Smith.
I am. No, I'm sorry. I need a table talk moment here, Josh.
Yeah.
So how do I want to charm this dude right out the way. Before anything, I want to be disarmingly charming. Now, I don't know how that works mechanically. I know, like, you gotta, like, I don't know how to do that exactly with my role playing skills, so to speak. But I want to, like, definitely put him at ease and make him think just by charisma that I couldn't possibly be an actual suspect, right? I mean, I'm a well-to-do, East Coast wasp. I mean, I'm Anglo-Saxon, all this stuff, like, I mean, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? But, like, I don't know how to.
So in Call of Cthulhu, it's going to be an opposed check. You will want to obviously role play as best you can, but roll
Sure.
charm. And he has a roll on his side, and you want to roll better.
Okay. Oh, we'll say, it's a pleasure to meet you, Detective. I'm sorry, should it be Sergeant or Detective? What's the right way to address you?
Well, in my case, right now, Detective Sergeant.
Well,
That
Detective
is
Sergeant.
that is my rank.
I am Clifton Carlisle III. I have an acquaintance with the illustrious Professor Smith,
Mhm.
and I read in an article this morning that he was missing and that there was a very troubling account of an arson. And I felt immediately that I should come to the authorities and share what I knew. Is that good? Can I roll that then?
Yep.
God, come on! All right. So that didn't work.
Let's see what he rolls.
Whatever rolling the opposite of hot is, that's what I've been doing all. Cold.
You've made a couple of rolls, but if it makes you feel any better, he fumbled his roll as well. So you fumble,
I'll fail.
but he rolled a fumble too.
Hey,
He is clearly very tired, but just you'll have to excuse my brusqueness, but spit it out. What do you know?
of course. Well, I met as a. Sorry, and again, side note: Janus Society is not secret at all, right? Like, it's a well-known. Like,
No.
there's no reason to hide that. Okay, so, well, I am in town for the annual Janus Society gala, and he gave quite the interesting speech about hauntings a few days ago. And he spoke with me briefly at the table that I was with a number of new acquaintances. I don't remember their names. But I will tell you that he seemed in good spirits. He was very jovial. And he might have imbibed a little too much at the gala. But again, who is innocent of that, right?
Didn't. Am I right? Sorry.
He did invite me to stop by his. Oh shit! I already started the sentence, so I can't. He did invite me to stop by his secondary home in what Blooming something
Blo-
Bloom
Bloomsbury.
fill in the blank and Bloomsbury. Uh, though I have not seen him there. I'm afraid that's all the information I have on hand. Of course, I'd be delighted to ask questions, and I very deeply hope that he is found unharmed because he is a leader in the realm of academia and a good friend of the family. Well, myself at least.
But you haven't seen him in the last day.
No, I unfortunately have not seen him since the first. Is there anyone else who has seen him since then?
He and his manservant have both been missing.
Oh my. Oh.
Well, if you are staying at a secondary home, we are actually going to be sending men over there later this evening to look into it. But if we need to reach you, we will see you there.
Of course, I'm actually staying at the Oriental Club. I just have been stopping by on a daily basis to his home to see if he was around, because I would have loved to pick his brain, so to speak, about the subject of his lecture on the first. I have to ask, Mr. Beddoes, has he turned up at all? Does he have any history of violent or malcontent acts? I know the communists have been rather active in this area recently, and I can't help but wonder.
Oh no!
Sinister machinations
The communists
have
they're
been
a red herring.
infecting.
So I am going to need you to roll for that one. This is going to be
Boy.
this is going to be a persuade roll.
Oh, good. I'm good at that one.
Yeah, you're good at charm too, but you know.
Yeah, I'm good at a few things that I've failed all night. Okay, wait, there we go. Okay, persuade.
Oh my god!
Is it? I
Another failure.
Interface here.
You rolled a 91.
Failure, really bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Jesus, what is going on today?
How often?
Why can't I bring up the thing?
How do you get luck back? How does luck replenish?
So
Hold on, I'm
luck
sorry.
will replenish at the start of every session.
Okay, so you spend a ridiculous amount of luck.
You will get on average around 10 to 15 points of luck back per session. So feel free to spend it if you want.
And I can't. I mean, I would need to spend 31 points to make it non-failure.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you feel like this is an important enough check to spend that?
Let me look at my.
It's a lot
I
of
have
luck.
72 points. That's a lot of luck. That's half my luck.
Most of you, yeah. It's
I'm
like
gonna say. I mean, I do have one of my traits is that I regain luck at a higher rate.
Oh, how much higher?
At the same time, though, I kind of feel like I don't remember. It's lucky. I don't remember what the actual thing is. I didn't write it down on my character sheet. Let this one ride. Let's see how this goes. I failed my save.
Like you are being persuasive and charming, but he's just so frustrated that it like
Right. He's just done.
Yeah.
Just like I got no deal with this. I got no time for this American mofo who's had a silver spoon in his mouth since he came out the womb. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, Lucky regains an additional 1d10 luck points at the beginning of each session.
Okay.
So
good to know.
You gain back a lot of luck.
I failed it so badly though. Like I feel like it's just I kind of gotta let the fates hand me what they're gonna hand me.
So yeah, he's just kind of tired and annoyed at that information is being looked into.
Of course. I don't even remember what I asked about. Was it was Mr. Beddoes? Was that what I was asking about? That's what I was. Okay, sorry. It's just we had this long conversation about the. Anyways, okay, go ahead. All right. Well, of course, if there is anything else that I can help with, you know how to find me at the Oriental Club. I think I'm going to go look up some old friends. It was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir.
Let us know if
And he's
anything
going to go
else comes
straight
up.
back. Of course. And then Cliff is going to go straight back to the residence and warn them that the
We'll get
cops
to
are going
that
to
in a
be coming
moment
around.
because
Okay.
there's other stuff going on. So
Sure.
Simon, you're at the front desk. What are you doing?
So basically, I think I would ask to see someone about this article. I'll even pull it out and point at it and say, I've seen a suspicious-looking person around, and I'm wondering if this if it might be the same person.
So the front desk officer, I mean, very clearly rolls his eyes at this.
Yeah, I understand. This is really far-fetched, but
It's yellow rag muck. Ignore it. Currently, we believe that it's a simple issue of some rogue that is just has other people doing business under his name, and the three of them died, and I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, you wouldn't want a description of this guy? I could probably get a good sketch of him for you.
Police sketches weren't done at this time.
Oh, boo. I do not have an art skill, so I can't help you there.
If you give me the description, I can pass it on to the detective in charge, and he can get back to you if he has any questions.
All right. Let's see. I'm wondering if I can maybe um, trick him into saying anything interesting.
If you would like to try, I can have you roll persuade if you're going to be a little more open about it, or if you're going to try to get him to reveal something without realizing it, it would be psychology.
So how about them criminals?
I'll go with persuade to start off with. Well, I'll go with persuade. Yeah. Nope. I'm not spending 45 points.
That's fair. No, he's very dismissive, but not in like a cruel way. Just no. This is the newspaper trying to sell extra issues. This is nothing to be concerned about. So that's about all you can get out of him.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, where were the bodies found?
And he kind of just flips through some of his paperwork. Detective Inspector Fleming had reported that they were found in a hotel.
They were all in the same hotel?
Yes.
Oh. It's interesting.
Cheap part of town, you know the crowd.
Maybe, but it was just morbid curiosity. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Katerina is looking through the house. Silvio, are you joining her, or?
Silvio is currently packing up his stuff, and he's Cat's still in the house, so he's saying, I'm going to leave now. It's better if I'm not here. But
Wait, you're leaving?
I'm not leaving the whole city, but I'm leaving this house. I'll be around.
Well, before you do, could you help me with something?
What is it?
Possibly breaking and entering. I'm not quite sure yet.
Sylvia looks taken aback as if he didn't expect that from her. Okay. Breaking and entering where?
I assume Professor Smith must have an office of some kind. Maybe there's information there that could be of relevance.
The office Sorry, this is clarifying out of character. The office where?
She was saying like there must be an office somewhere in the house.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can help you look before I go. So I will help look if there's some kind of office in here.
Thank you. After all, I'm but a helpless woman, and she rolls her eyes, very clearly making fun of Mr. Carlisle. It's not here.
I see a theme forming.
I'm sure
so yeah,
there are some who would think so.
we search the house.
So yeah, it's not anything that you really would have noticed at first, but one of the rooms does appear to be used as kind of a office away from home sort of thing. And there is a roll-top desk in it that's kind of shoved off into one corner, but it is locked.
I don't suppose you have. What'd you say?
One of you two can pick locks, right? Between the two of you? No?
Yes, I turn to Silvio and I say, Mr. De Leon, I don't suppose you have any talents that might come in handy at this sort of juncture?
Mm. Consulting my characters. That's a big no. I look around if there's anything heavy that I can use to bludgeon the drawer open.
There is.
Before you look at that, maybe there's a key.
I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, okay.
There's a bronze bust on the mantle that you could just.
I'm like in the process of grabbing it when she stops me.
So yeah, roll a spot hidden to look around and see if you can find a key.
Cool, I failed miserably.
Ooh.
I think when she stops me, I'll help look. 22.
There you go. Nice.
So, in the moment of sheer irony, when you have the bronze bust picked up, on the underside there is a little kind of recess, and there is a key in there for the roll top desk.
That's awesome.
And it's only
It's
when you
like-
go to set it
He's like,
down.
Wait!
Mr. De Leon,
That's
are
funny.
you actually a genius?
I don't know about that, but it looks like something lucky happened today, and I'll pull out the key and open it up.
So yeah, you roll open, and inside there are some scattered academic papers, some notes that are clearly in preparation for the lecture that he gave, and on top of everything, there is scrawled on a piece of parchment, kind of nice parchment, but parchment nonetheless, scrawled on there a part of a word. It's clear that he started writing something and then stopped partway through and tried to scratch it out, but you can clearly at least make out the first part of it, which is, one moment here. Okay. So you're not sure how much of the word, but you find Sedefka.
Is that any sort of language that I've ever seen?
It is not, no.
It's in English characters?
Yes, it is using Latin letters.
Can you spell it?
It's written.
It's in the Roll20 chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes here. So.
Do I recognize it from my studies? Shall we say?
You do not know.
Well, that's unhelpful.
But about the time that you discover that, there is a knock at the door.
So I think Katarina panics and like immediately stuffs everything back in the drawer and closes it, and then like looks at Silvio pleadingly.
Silvio picks up the bust again.
Okay.
And starts moving towards the front door.
Okay.
I'll check. Okay. Let's not
We're
resort
gonna need
to.
to leave now.
I won't
Silly.
bludgeon anyone who doesn't deserve it.
I believe you, surprisingly. And I go to open the door.
So you get to the door, and you have noticed that in the mail slot there was something dropped through, and there is a small envelope that was dropped through the mail slot.
Is there a peephole?
There is.
I peep.
You kind of slide it aside, and you don't see anybody on the front stoop.
Curious. And I'll take the
roll
envelope.
for a peep.
Yeah, make a peep check.
Hey.
Roll for P.
So you find this note in the envelope. And on the back of it is written an address on the southeast side of London.
I pass the note over to Silvio.
Look it over.
You know, because of your correspondences with him, this is definitely Professor Smith's handwriting.
Okay.
You have
It was
seen
in
his
which region
handwriting
of London?
enough. What was that?
Which region of London?
Southeast.
East London, you said?
At about this time, Simon and Clifton would be coming back from their trip to the police. Let's see. Yeah.
Walker.
Scotland Yard.
Yeah, I was trying to think if it, there's something else, but no. About this time, you'd be coming back.
We weren't accosted on the street by Shogoths.
Not yet.
So, yeah.
Like, wave them in, close the front door behind them, and say, "What did you find?" She's tapping.
I was unable to glean much information from Detective Sergeant Detective Rigby. How about you?
Look at this. And she just completely interrupts you and grabs the note and passes it to you.
This is interesting. Do I also recognize Professor Smith's handwriting?
You haven't had enough correspondences to know for certain, no.
Can we say in excited exuberance that she says, "That's Professor Smith's handwriting," or something like that?
Silvio's the one who has had correspondence, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I think I would, as people are kind of discussing the notes and being excited, I think I would remember something the professor said and kind of give them the silence motion and point at the walls have ears type motion.
Yes.
Trying to indicate to everyone that someone might be listening in. And I'll just point at the back.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Simon's gonna go get
The
his
authorities
satchel.
will be calling. The authorities will be calling on this location soon, and considering none of us here have any more information to share with them, it might be wise to vacate the
Yeah, I've
premises.
grabbed my guitar case and I'm headed for the door.
Silvio's like, I'm already packed, bitch. I'm ready.
I think as Silvio walks past my room, he'll notice that it's basically spotless already, and there's just my black satchel by the door.
I think Katarina's been like making herself at home and takes a few minutes to like pack all of her stuff up.
Clifton's going to step outside
Okay.
to head off any authorities that might just pop up right as everyone's trying to bail, because he can probably, hopefully, handle them. Although all-wise, whatever.
So you got the impression talking to him that it was probably going to be a couple hours before anybody called on the location. But yeah, it's one of those where you definitely.
He's like watching from a window to make sure if somebody shows up, he'll pop out. But like, he's got nothing here, so like he's more fluid as far as okay.
Oh yeah.
Should we go as a group or should we split up?
Well, shit, we don't even know where we're going.
Address is on the
where we're
back.
going.
We have an address on the back.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, forgot about that. Okay, let's.
How far away is it?
So it
Across the river,
is right there in Southwark.
It's a bit far.
Sorry, can you click again? I wasn't on the thingy.
It's like
Okay, so it's 3.7 miles.
You'd probably, you could make the walk, but it might be worth getting like a taxi or, something like that.
let's take a taxi to the London Bridge station. That seems rather inconspicuous and normal, and then we'll walk to the address from there.
Sure. In fact, let's play up the touristy part of it. I mean, at least I will. Let's say Clifton will, specifically. To the taxi driver or whatever.
Yes.
Even though he's been to London like
And
he's gonna act like
rather
totally clueless tourist. Yeah.
and as we head out, I'll definitely try to see if anyone is following us, watching us.
I would like you to roll spot hidden.
Oh boy.
One thing quick.
I'm not...
I think what I'm going to do is actually sort of put together a quick disguise and follow everyone from a distance, just to also keep an eye out and see if anything interesting would happen there.
Okay.
Honestly, it would probably be best if we travel separately. Is that...
Probably, yeah, if they want to throw someone off.
I don't know how safe I feel being on my own.
Well, it seems like Kat and Silvio seem to... I mean, you guys are, at least from appearance's sake, from a similar social cast. I don't mean to be... I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
next to
trying to be like...
I'm
You know
no
what I'm saying?
caliber,
As far
Mr.
as someone's gonna
Carlisle.
be people, they're gonna fit together versus Mr. Frickin' Money, is gonna look weird traveling with them. I'm just saying, like, it's like a... From an espionage tradecraft standpoint, it would make sense if we traveled separately, but you two, I feel like, could work together.
We can travel.
Am I wrong?
peace.
Good sir, in truth, you are a master of many things. Espionage included.
Right. So I will make a big show of going to the London Bridge, and hopefully, if anyone's on our page,
And
they will be following me.
Simon, can you roll disguise for yours?
Yeah, sure.
And I rolled a failure on my spot hidden.
Thank you. Okay. So, Simon, you got a success on your disguise. You are able to kind of put together enough of a differing outfit that you don't really look, at least at first glance, like yourself. And that, mixed with a hat, you're reasonably confident that unless somebody really is looking at you, they're not going to recognize you.
Cool. Incognito.
Yep.
And then, yeah, I think I would
also
trail. If Silvio and Kat are going in a group, I think I might trail them just to keep an eye out on them.
Okay.
Can I also keep an eye out for potential tails and such? Clearly something's going on. There's a conspiracy afoot, so to speak.
Roll spot hidden.
I think
That is a phrase you're going to hear quite often from me.
I think I'll also
Yeah.
make that same roll, although
Okay.
I'm not
I put
super.
40 points in there. I definitely like to use it because information is
Yeah.
power. Okay, where did
I fail that.
again? How does this keep? Well, I mean, that's a bad
Statistics.
failure though. That's like a major failure. Yeah.
You know what?
Okay.
Actually, I will spend. It's only what 16 luck for me to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll spend that.
Okay. So Simon, you are definitely able to notice the fact that there is a group of people that briefly seem to be kind of following along, and then suddenly, for no apparent reason, they just kind of take a side street and go off on their own way. But they were following along for far too much of the walk to really be coincidence. Kat, you notice the same thing, and you notice Simon behind you, and he's not really looking like himself either.
I'm just like Simon. No, I'm just kidding.
But one thing that I will kind of make note of for you is because you have a different vantage point from Simon on this, is when you do notice that the group kind of takes their turn off of a different path, they kind of confer with each other for a little bit before they take the turn off. They kind of stop, talk with each other, and then go off on the different path. But it feels too much like they were following you.
Is the path that they're taking along the same route? Like, is it a shortcut or is it just like completely off in
Nope.
another direction? Okay.
It would be going north, in fact.
I'll lean into Sylvia and just be like, I think we were followed, but they seem to have left.
Surprising. Maybe we should make our destination a few stops past where we need to go and backtrack from there.
I agree. Take a circuitous route.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We will do that.
Yep.
So, yeah, you guys, knowing this, take a little bit of a roundabout path and go to the bridge station, then go to, Rotherhithe, and kind of work your way around, probably taking a good extra, 20 minutes. But you feel after that if anybody was following you, you definitely lost them because you just kind of wandered around for a bit. But whoever it was that was following only seemed to be following the two of you. Nobody else spotted anybody else following, any other group here. By the time you guys do make it to the address in Southwark, it is a kind of grimy little building on a undistinguished street in the middle of just kind of a grungy little rundown residential area.
Well, this is different.
Sorry, are just these two there, or am I? Can I wanted to make a stealth roll, I guess. I wanted to be paranoid about it and try and get off the taxi. And now, granted, I'm not dressed particularly well for stealth, probably, but like I
was gonna
wanted to like in case any. Yeah.
In this neighborhood, with the way you're dressed, you are going to get a penalty die, but you can.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, let's go.
I would expect Simon would also be stealthy approaching.
Okay. You will not get the penalty die for your roll.
How does this keep happening? So
It's the
I
luck
got
of the dice.
Then you're on
87.
fire. How many extreme successes?
Jesus.
I'm a gambler, right?
I'm on fire.
You are one with the shadows.
I got a really bad failure. I mean, there's not apparently a worse degree of that besides a critical, but it's pretty bad.
Oh, I was going to
87
say,
versus
it's not
40.
a fumble, but...
Yeah, that's the saving grace, right? That's the.
But,
He's
Simon,
not
on the other
apparently.
hand... Simon, on the other hand, seems to make shadows around him. So, yeah, I mean, you guys are, maybe not huddled as a group, but you are all at this house on just a out-of-the-way Southwark Street.
Does it look lived in or more abandoned or?
Oh, it is definitely lived in. Like, a little too lived in.
How does the second floor look? Is there a second floor?
Mm-hmm. There are actually 3 floors to it. At least judging from outside appearance, your best guess is this is a cheap boarding house.
Okay. Any bars on the window or anything weird?
Nope.
Is there just the front entrance, or does it look like there's a side door or something?
There actually isn't a traditional front entrance on it. There is only a side entrance.
Okay.
In this neighborhood, it
strange?
appears... Nope. It appears that the street was kind of set up to be more of a pathway, and the homes, their entrances are away from the street.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the homes in this neighborhood seem to be that way.
So it's typical for the neighborhood. It's not bizarre or anything. So
Nope.
we thematically we arrive at roughly the same time. Is that the idea?
Roughly, yeah.
Like the group, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he says. Cliff says something jovial, and kind of saunters off, and to be like, "Let's take a look, shall we?"
Yeah, let's get off the street before we're spotted.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
muted.
gonna say we can't hear you.
She just says like, "Yeah, what are we waiting for?" Trying to sound brave, but clearly her voice is belying her bravery.
Simon goes and
Wavering.
tries the door.
So there is essentially a doorbell at the door. So pull a cord and a bell, actual bell, would ring inside.
I think I'm just going to try the handle.
Okay. It is locked.
I look at my companions.
Can I
And then I
suggest?
sort of drop down towards the lock for a second. Pull out some wires and give it a go.
Okay.
Cliff was going to suggest that Simon goes to be lookout, until he pulled out his tools and he just said, "You're mine,"
I
and steps back and watches.
Kat leans into Silvio and says, "Where was he earlier?"
So yeah, after like only about 30 seconds, there's a popping noise, and the door just kind of creaks open.
All right, I hop on in and usher everyone else
Follow.
in.
Yep.
And once people are in, we will lock the door again.
Can I look around to
Mhm.
make sure no one sees anything, or is that too much of a? I want to do that because I'm paranoid now.
There is, as far as you can tell, there is nobody on the street.
Okay.
You didn't need to make a roll for that. It's rather obvious.
Already. Okay.
Yep.
So we secret into the tenement building that this is.
Yep.
Or maybe slightly nicer than the tenement building.
And as you guys enter in, basically it's a stairwell. The entranceway is a stairwell, and you see there is a door, for whatever the first floor boarding room is, and there's probably, presumably ones on the second and third floors.
And did his note say anything about a specific? It just gave an address, right?
Yep.
Do I hear anything in the house?
Roll listen.
Oh my god, Justin.
I don't-
What's happening?
You're getting all of your good rolls out in the first session. The rest of the campaign's gonna be crap.
Well, did you?
Watch.
Yeah. I mean, when we were doing character building and I was just testing macros and whatnot, that's when I was like rolling the one. I'm like, oh man, I just rolled my only one I'll ever roll. But it's good to see that it hasn't fully rubbed off yet.
Don't keep talking the fact that you're testing the fates.
So yeah, you don't hear anything on this floor. You do hear some rustling noises from upstairs. Judging from the volume and your extreme success, you're guessing probably the third floor.
All right, I'll hold up 3 fingers and point up in my ear.
Okay. Stealth rolls. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm going to
I'm-
be stealthy. You guys do what
I'm
you
trying
want.
to move up
I would
the
like to be
stairs
very stealthy.
quietly.
Not creak the stairs.
Okay.
Can I do a roll?
Yep. Stealth from all of you who are trying to be stealthy.
Here's where I rolled my 100.
That's a big fail there.
I'll try to be stealthy, but it's not. Oh.
Is this even happening?
Justin's totally successful.
Spectacular fail. Like I'm not getting like major fumbles, but like it's like, oh, you wanted a 40, it's 80. Like that's how whatever. So Clifton breaks something loudly while he's walking on
Simon's
things.
quiet, and it's
Or
just like
something.
pounding elephants everyone behind him.
It's not a fumble.
Old creaky house.
Yeah. It becomes rather clear to you guys that the stairs are creaky enough that you are having a hard time. It is not impossible to be quiet, but yeah, it's rather obvious. And by the time you get to the third floor landing, a figure comes out from around the corner, and you get to meet James Beddoes. And I am going to change maps for you guys.
Change that.
Hey. So James Beddoes is essentially your stereotypical English butler. He is despite the griminess and out-of-the-way location, he is still wearing a tux, and he looks very formal in how he carries himself. Both of his hands are bandaged, though. And he looks very surprised to see you. What was that?
Like he can still use his fingers bandaged, or like they're totally like completely wrapped where he can't even do anything with his hands.
I assume that they've been burned.
They are pretty thoroughly bandaged. He might be able to grab things, but not like fine motor control at all.
Do we actually know that this is Mr. Beddoes, or we're just assuming based on his appearance?
That is your best guess based off of appearance. However, as soon as he sees you, he kind of has a brief start, grabs at his chest. Oh.
So he failed his listen roll, is what you're saying.
Yes, yes, he did.
You would
Mr.
be...
Beddoes,
Yes. You scared me. I was expecting the bell.
Well, given the current circumstances, we felt the bell might be inappropriate, so to speak.
Of course. If you could come with me, Professor Smith, he is not in good shape and would like to talk with you.
But alive, that's good news.
Alive, but not exactly well. Come with me, and he starts leading you up into this room.
Okay, we'll follow
Kat
along.
is like tapping her foot nervously, just fidgeting.
So, Professor Smith is currently laying in bed, and all the blinds are drawn, so it is pretty dark in here. But you can see him well enough to know that it is definitely Professor Smith, but he is very badly burned. Nearly half of his face is just horribly burned, and the it there are attempts at bandaging parts of it, but there's too much of his face to fully bandage, and most of the left side of his body is burnt, and his right hand is very badly burnt. It is completely bandaged up, but with the bandages, it's obvious that most of the flesh of his right hand was burned off.
Jesus.
He is a mess.
Mr. Beddoes, how is he not in a hospital?
I have told him several times that that is the best option. And at that point, Professor Smith interrupts. I told him not to. There are people after me, and they would look in the hospitals first.
Can I step closer and see, like, from breathing and all that, whether he's like about to expire, or just get a general like first aid type check on him?
Yes, absolutely you can. In fact, I would go ahead and roll first aid to check.
Can I assist him?
Yes. So both of you can roll, and both of you would get a bonus die on this.
Yeah, bonus die. Jesus.
Well,
Jeez.
Same.
I fail.
Best you can tell is he is not currently dying. You make no promises about 5 minutes from now.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, good.
Technically, in this moment. Can I just... Okay, so we'll say... sorry, in character. Professor, there seems to be a great deal of information you could impart upon us, but what is it you needed us to do?
Beddoes will provide you some of the details, but I need you to take a trip. I was intending to go with you, but as you can tell, I am in no shape to do so. There is an artifact that there is a group after. I don't know why they are after it, but I know they have ill intent with it. The Sedefkar Simulacrum. It's a statue, a large one. And I have a feeling they're after it because because the rumors that it possesses great magical power. I believe no such thing, but belief of the zealots are strong. But they know that I had some leads on it, and I believe that their attack on me last night was an attempt to get at my notes.
Who is this
Do you
group
have
that's
them?
after you? Who are they?
They're Turkish madmen. I don't know their name. They are some sort of organization. The Turkish government, I believe, tried to wipe them out before and were unsuccessful. I don't know too many details, but I have had men from their from their group try to contact me before and get information knowing that I was looking into this.
So I'll describe the Turkish man I saw, just to see if there's any recognition there.
Red Fez,
Hmm.
it is quite possible. I have seen more Turkish men joining the society than was previous. So I hate to make assumptions, but I kind of have no other choice in this situation.
Have you seen this article about the 3 Turkish men killed last night?
I haven't.
So I'll show him the article.
Uh,
Or if he can't read it, maybe I'll just give it to Evans.
He seems to squint a lot because right now one of his eyes doesn't seem to be working right, but he holds it up and it could be connected. Keep an eye out for this man, this Makriat. He might be connected to them.
Okay. I'm
So,
intrigued.
Kat, who has been facing away and fidgeting with her hands for most of the conversation, still facing away, just chimes in and says, "So, you're a man of science, but suspend your disbelief for a moment and assume that what these men believe is true. What would this device do?"
The lore surrounding it indicates there might be a way to use it to grant immortality and powers over the flesh.
There have been a great many relics and places throughout time that supposedly grant such power. None have been true. Why this one?
I don't know. This is not the first artifact of great rumored power I have looked into, but this is the first time that I have been targeted.
And where is this artifact? Where were you sending us?
It appears to be in pieces. I know for certain one of the pieces was last seen in France, outside of Paris.
So it has to be a
The-
goose chase then.
I had arranged for a trip along the Orient Express since it appears that Constantinople would be where we would need to drop off the simulacrum with an acquaintance to have it destroyed or to have it kept safe or whatever needs to be done.
Professor Smith, where are your notes?
They were destroyed in the fire. The Turkish madmen tried to get them, and during the chaos, I was able to toss my notebook into the fire so they didn't get their hands on it. But Beddoes has some of my other lesser notes, some of the more important details for you. I can't talk long. I am too hurt and too exhausted.
I understand.
You need to get to a hospital, sir. Even if it's one far away from here.
Maybe that is best.
I mean, do you know any doctors that could keep this on the down low? Or anyone that knows first aid? They don't really have veterinarians back then, did they? I know they probably
Not
had
really, no.
animal handlers of some sort.
Certainly an academic in
They
your
had some kind of
have training.
I might
well, if they,
I might have some people that I can see. Beddoes has been able to patch me up enough that I don't think I am going to pass immediately.
sorry, table talk. Do you guys have either skill you can try and apply if you had any stuff
I
or no?
used my meager first aid skill earlier. Failed.
My first aid skill is one of my stronger skills, so I was gonna try to see if I can at least make him more comfortable. Before I
I
was
mean,
ju-
even if just you had like high proof alcohol
Yeah.
and bandages would probably
yeah,
help,
just
right?
ease the pain a little bit.
Well, just or prevent infection type,
Mhm.
like whatever. You can probably help. Just thinking, in character. I say this stuff in
That's
character.
what I was
guess.
thinking of doing.
And as you guys are discussing this, as you guys are discussing this, Kat, you notice in the corner over here, there's the light seems to be growing. So it's a little bit off. And then a few seconds after you notice it, you actually see the light moving. And about that time, all of you notice there is something in that corner. Something otherworldly.
I'm right there.
Oh, hold on.
Is there anything?
Hold
Is there
on.
anything?
Sorry,
Sorry. Sorry.
before any of the whatever you want to respond with, the moment that you guys see this thing, your mind just says nope, because there is nothing in this world that is a roughly 4-inch tall kind of jellyfish looking thing made out of pure fire. This is
Not
obviously
fire, you're
a
saying.
living thing, but it is made out of light. And the best way to describe it is the fire of the stars themselves. Everybody roll sanity.
Yeah, first sanity roll.
Inch by on that one.
Oof.
Hard success.
Ooh, failure. Okay.
What, do I just
You have a 90 sanity.
roll the?
I've seen some shit.
Okay. So the three of
Hey.
you that succeeded, you are going to lose 1 sanity. For Silvio, since you failed, you are going to lose 1d3 sanity. So roll 1d3, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
Oh, Stokes
69
redeemed some,
sanity.
What was that?
Stokes redeemed something in chat.
Okay. Sorry, I did not have that up.
Oh, spend luck on
And
sanity.
luck on sanity.
For both Simon
So,
and Sylvia.
Silvio, if you would like, you can spend 20 luck to make that sanity a success.
Sure, let's do that. Got some luck.
Normally, for those of you watching, normally you can't spend luck on sanity, but that was one of the reward options, so.
Nice.
Since you did, you have succeeded, and you will only lose 1 sanity.
I think Clifton moved in the way of it just in time, so I didn't get the full view. That's my luck.
He is accidentally selfless. Like not generally selfless, but accidentally selfless.
So, in the moment of horror that you all have, because when you actually succeed on sanity, it definitely is the moment of what the hell is that, as you're trying to comprehend. And in that brief moment, a piece of the starfire that makes up this thing seems to float off of its body and speeds towards Professor Smith. And the bed catches fire.
Yeah.
Oops.
First aid's gonna be a little harder now.
And that is
anything I... Oh, sorry.
Nope. That is where we're going to call it for this evening. At the start of next session, you will get to have your first experience with combat, and that combat is going to be with our lovely friend here, the fire vampire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's a fire vampire or a star vampire? Or
It's a far.
It's a yeah.
You're thinking Star Spawn.
Oh
but
yeah, I'm mixing the two, conflating the two. Yeah.
I like to
fire
think that it's
vampires
very
are. Fire vampires are tiny and terrifying.
I like to
So-
think that the screen like zooms in on Smith, and there's a record scratch, and it's like, you're probably wondering how I got here.
Well, that'd be great. So yes,
Story.
next session we will kick it off with seeing how they respond, seeing if they can save Professor Smith, seeing what they can do about this star vampire, and seeing what happens as they get ready to start their journey. So thank you all for joining us this evening. I hope you have enjoyed it. Next week we will start at our usual time at 7 Central instead of 8 Central. Hope you guys had a lot of fun, and we will see you then.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.